Every night, millions of us perform the exact same ritual. We walk the perimeter of our homes, pull the blinds, and turn the deadbolt. The moment that lock clicks, our heart rate drops. We feel entirely separated from the outside. Psychologists call this boundary the threshold. It is the physical and mental dividing line between the chaotic, unpredictable public spaces we navigate all day and the absolute control of our private sanctuary. This diagram shows the mechanical reality of a standard door frame. When you map out the vector force lines, you see that the heavy metal deadbolt is actually just anchored into about an inch of soft pine. A single solid kick delivers enough kinetic energy to completely splinter the wood. The glass pane sitting right next to the door shatters with even less pressure. From a purely structural standpoint, our homes are incredibly fragile. Our daily safety is contingent on a fragile social contract, the shared assumption that every stranger walking past our property will choose to respect the barrier. A home invasion is uniquely terrifying because it reveals that your absolute safety relies entirely on a stranger's willingness to obey the rules of a piece of glass. Consider a typical, quiet suburban neighborhood. Wide streets, spacious yards, friendly neighbors. It projects a flawless sense of security, which is why a set of parents felt completely comfortable leaving their 12-year-old son home alone for the evening with some cash to order dinner. The breakdown of the social contract almost always starts with a probe. When the boy opens the door to pay for the pizza, the delivery driver hands over the food, looks past the kid into the empty house, and asks a highly specific question. "You alone here?" Hours later, around 11 p.m., the doorbell rings again. The boy walks to the door and hears an unfamiliar voice pleading for help, asking to use a phone. Knowing better than to open up, the boy walks upstairs. He turns around, and through the decorative glass pane at the top of the front door, he sees the dark outline of a man's head staring right back at him. The boy locks himself inside his parents' bedroom and quietly calls his mom. While she relays the information to the police on another line, the boy hears a side gate open. Then he hears the unmistakable sound of footsteps walking around downstairs. The intruder entered through a completely unforced sliding window. The boy listens in terror as those heavy footsteps walk up the stairs, stop right outside his door, and crest down on the locked doorknob. The defining horror of this phase is becoming prey inside your own territory. The grand illusion of a secure, heavily fortified house is instantly reduced down to a single, flimsy interior lock, holding off whoever is standing on the other side of the wood. Sometimes physical distance creates an even stronger false sense of security. Take a massive 2-story retirement home built deep in the remote backcountry of North Idaho. There are no immediate neighbors, just a sprawling property that backs right up to miles of dense, pitch-black national forest. A teenager is left alone in the house after walking his girlfriend out to her car for the night. He heads down to the basement to shut off the lights. As the room goes dark, he glances at the large patio window. Standing right on the other side of the glass is a filthy man with a wild expression, holding a knife and gently tapping it against the window pane. This dynamic creates what security experts might call a transparent cage. A large window successfully prevents a physical entry, but it offers a totally clear line of sight. An intruder does not actually need to break the glass to inflict severe psychological terror. They just have to stand there, inches away, observing you while you are completely trapped in their gaze. The torment continues long past that first night. For weeks, the boy wakes up at 3 a.m. to the faint, metallic sound of tapping beneath his room. After a fresh snowfall, he walks the perimeter of the house and finds bare, human footprints circling the entire property, stopping at every single window to look inside. A physical lock does not have to break to fail you. If a barrier allows a predator to stalk the perimeter, mentally trap you, and assert total psychological dominance from the outside, the threshold has already been completely compromised. The absolute failure of the threshold happens when the barrier simply ceases to matter at all. 6 college friends rent a cheap, dilapidated cabin deep in the woods of South Carolina. The property sits miles off the main dirt road, buried in trees, completely devoid of cellular service. At 4:15 in the morning, one of the students wakes up in a ground floor bedroom. He hears a steady, rhythmic tapping. He looks at the window and sees a pale, shirtless man with wild hair pressed up against the glass, staring blankly inward, with his fingers pressed flat against the pane. The friends wake up in a panic. They drag a heavy couch in front of the living room window, double-check every deadbolt, and take shifts staying awake. They treat the thick wooden walls and locked doors of the cabin as an impenetrable final line of defense against whatever is wandering through the trees. The following night at 3:30 a.m., a student walks out to the kitchen for a glass of water. Standing right in front of the refrigerator is the exact same man. He is now completely naked, his back covered in long, raw scratches. He doesn't attack. He just stands in the dark, swaying slowly back and forth on his feet. The students grab makeshift weapons and turn on the lights. The man vanishes. But when they check the kitchen, they find the back door standing wide open. The wood wasn't splintered. The deadbolt wasn't smashed. The door was simply open. Home invasion terror peaks when a predator crosses into your sanctuary so silently and so effortlessly that the illusion of safety shatters without making a single sound. In all three of these events, the immediate physical danger eventually fades. The pizza driver eventually produces an alibi. The bare footprints in the Idaho snow end abruptly halfway into the woods. And the deputies in South Carolina casually dismiss the feral intruder as a local squatter. Authorities arrive, take down a report, and leave without finding any actionable evidence. There are no arrests. The victims are left with zero closure, expected to resume normal lives with no guarantee that the threat has actually left the area. This chart illustrates the true toll of these encounters. Even when zero property is stolen and no physical violence occurs, the victim's sanctuary baseline, their foundational sense of peace inside their own home, will plummet instantly. Once the physical perimeter is violated, that psychological baseline completely flatlines, totally unable to ever recover to its original state. Once a stranger proves that they can cross your threshold, the sanctuary of the home can never truly be rebuilt. You will always carry this knowledge. Your house is only ever as secure as the intentions of the person standing in the dark.